Hi, and welcome to the second video in the series of calming the nervous system. These videos are based on the work of Stephen Porges and the polyvagal theory. So if you want to know any more detail about that, then do just type in polyvagal theory or Stephen Porges online and you'll get all kinds of information. I do a brief summary in the first of the videos, so if you've not seen that, then take a look at the first video on calming the nervous system, where I go over how the vagus nerve works and how it works within the autonomic system, with the other aspects of the autonomic system, which is the automatic nerve supply to every system in your body, basically. It keeps our entire systems functioning. So the vagus nerve could be described as our rest and repair nerve. So it's the nerve that keeps everything running healthily through our internal organs, our heart, our lungs, our digestive system, reproductive system. And basically when we're stressed, or if we have chronic illness or chronic pain syndromes, or we've undergone a traumatic event, these can all have a negative impact on the vagus nerve and stop it from functioning as well as it could do. And if the vagus nerve is not healthy, then that has an impact on our general health and well-being as well. Essentially, a healthy vagus nerve means a healthy you and me. So whatever we can do to support that nerve is going to help to bring us back to health from whatever we're struggling with, whether that is anxiety or chronic pain or illness or a combination of all different things. It will help with all of those. So today we're going to look at how we can use our ears to stimulate the vagus nerve. So the vagus is one of our cranial nerves that emerges from the base of the skull here, and all of the other cranial nerves, the cranial just means head, all the other cranial nerves essentially supply everything up here. So we've got the auditory nerve that gives us our hearing, the vestibular nerve for our balance within our ear. We've got nerves that supply the movement in our eyes, nerves that supply movement to our tongue, our sense of smell, sense of taste, actual vision, and all our facial expressions, all the muscles of facial expression, and actually also all the sensation in the skin around this whole area here around our face. So the cranial nerves supply everything from here up, really. And the vagus nerve is linked with all of those other nerves, so we can access it through any of those systems. So talking about the ear, instinctively we know that hearing can have an impact on our well-being, because we know on the one hand a loud bang or a crash is going to instantly make us feel fearful and on edge and ready to run away or move or fight. Equally, very calming, gentle noises will have a calming effect on us. There's a very, very close link with the vagus nerve and the auditory nerve and our emotional system actually within the brain, the limbic system in the brain. So if you just take yourself out to nature and just sit and listen to birds singing for 5, 10, 20 minutes, that will have a really positive effect on your vagus nerve and on your well-being. Listening to meditation music, or just listening to your absolute favorite calming music. It doesn't have to be specifically meditation. But what I'm talking about today really is not sound therapy with your ears, but actual touch therapy around your ears. So you can stimulate the skin and the cartilage around your ears to really boost the vagus system. So the vagus nerve is the earlobe here is really strongly innervated, and there are lots of little trigger points here that will stimulate the vagus nerve and help to calm your system down. If your vagus nerve is healthy, then your heart rate can calm down, your breathing rate can calm down, inflammatory response in your body can calm down. It just helps everything. So I'm just going to show you a few little techniques that will help to stimulate through the ear. So you don't have to have any particular physical ability to do this. Anybody can do this. And I'm sitting here, unsupported, but you don't have to be. You don't have to stand up. You can do this sitting in a chair with lots of support. So if your back is aching or you've got a sore neck, get yourself in your most comfy position that you can be in and still reach your ear. Basically, that's all you need. So I'm just going to pick up the camera now, and I hope that I can kind of direct you in the right direction. So there's a few different points that you can use. The first point is literally if you just go to the opening of the ear canal and you have your finger pointing backwards. So you just put your finger on the backwards wall at the opening of your ear canal. You're not trying to put your finger down your ear. You're literally just very, very gently pressing it against the back wall of the opening of your ear. And when I say pressing, very, very gentle. You're not actually really pushing against your ear, just a really, really gentle circular movement, moving the skin around on the back of the ear there. And that's what, I don't know whether technically it is called a trigger point, but I'm going to call it a trigger point for your vagus nerve here. So you can spend as long as you like on this if it feels like it's helpful. Interestingly, I find that when I'm working on my right ear, I tend to zone out quite a bit, and it really calms me down, more so than working on my left ear. Everybody will be different, and you may find certain points you think, oh, I can't really feel that that's doing anything, and then you'll hit another point you think, oh, instantly you can feel that calming you. So that's one point. So just to recap, you just find the back of the opening to your inner ear, and you're just very gently doing a little massage around there. And then the next point to massage is just where you've got that line of cartilage in the middle of your earlobe, and it joins up with the outer side of the earlobe just in there. And again, it doesn't matter which finger you use. I find actually my little finger's easier, just because I've probably just got a little ear, so it fits in better. Just doing a tiny little circle around. Again, you're not digging in on it. You're not pressing in deep either. It's not like a deep sports massage on your ear or anything. We're just talking about just moving the skin and the cartilage around very, very gently, nice and slowly. And be mindful of what you can feel as well. So concentrate on this. Don't just kind of sit there and wiggle around while you're thinking about something else. Just pay attention just to what you're doing there and feel, what does that feel like? Is it sore? Is it tender? Does it feel nice? A bit weird? Doesn't really matter. Just pay attention to it and notice what you feel. And then when you go and do the same on the other ear, see if it feels any different or if they both feel the same. So those are the little circular massages that you can do. And like I say, just compare that with the other side. So find the same points on the other side, pointing. It's really difficult to do this when you're looking in the camera because it looks like a mirror. So you need your finger pointing backwards. Just little circular movements there. Again, just notice if it feels any different in your left ear to when you did it in your right ear. Nice and slow, so you're not rushing this at all. Really slow movements. And nice and gently. You shouldn't be bringing on any pain at all with this. There may be the odd little point that feels vaguely uncomfortable, and that's about as awkward as it should get. And just moving up to that same point again in that little top corner. I don't know, I can't actually see if I'm pointing the camera at it, so hopefully I am. Just little circular movements there as well. If you can do this in a nice quiet place, all the better, so it's nice and calm and peaceful so you can focus on what you're doing. I've just got sound of bird song in the background, which is lovely. Okay, so when you've done those 2 points in both ears, then have a little feel and use. You can actually use your earlobes and the cartilage here to mobilize the whole system. Okay, so you could start off just having a little feel, a little bit of a stretch. So you're literally just kind of stretching your earlobe away from your skull in all different directions. Really notice it and feel it. How much movement is there? And is there one bit that moves better than another bit? And then compare it to the opposite side. So swap hands Is it tighter on one ear than another? Lots and lots of movement here. Interesting. That feels harder to move than it does on the other ear. It doesn't really mean anything. You don't need to kind of worry about it if one ear feels different to the other. Just notice it. Now, none of us are symmetrical, so there isn't a right or a wrong thing to feel. And then while you're on this ear, just focus on it. Spend a little bit of time on it. So, and if you feel one direction feels particularly good to you, then work on that. So I don't really feel anything very much when I pull my earlobes down here. I can feel a little bit of tightness when I pull out that way, but it's not unpleasant, it's just a bit tight. And then when I come up this way, that feels really good. And when I go up this way, I can actually feel all the tension in my jaw vanish as I pull my ear up this way. So really, really useful if you're somebody that has a tendency to clench their jaw and be quite tense in their jaw. You might find that this actually helps to release that a little bit. So for me, it's that kind of just pulling right at the top corner of the earlobe there and just pull it us diagonally upwards and out to the side a little bit. And I can feel it really releasing tension around the temporal muscle here, which is one of the jaw muscles, but also can feel it down here as well. And if I'm not talking and you watch, you can actually see that it's mobilizing the tissues around here as I do that. You can just see a very slight change in the shadow in my cheek as it moves, all of the connective tissue around. So you don't have to be technical, you don't have to know any medical knowledge in order to do this. And the other really beautiful thing about this is that you can actually use, if you find a particular movement that does seem to kind of give you an moment, like when I pull in that direction, then you can use that. So you could subtly, if you're in a stressful situation, you could subtly just get hold of your ear and you could probably just help to just tap into that system and calm it down a little bit, just with a very, very gentle kind of pull on your ear. So I'm not going to spend ages going over this ear as well. Or maybe I will, just so you can kind of do it with me. So again, say compare right with left and see. To me, everything on this side is much looser. I've actually got kind of a more mobile earlobe. Who'd have thought it? Who'd have ever thought of mobilising your earlobe? Okay. So like I say, just notice what you feel, find bits that feel good, and spend a little bit more time on those bits. But also you're just connecting with your body as well, and noticing things about your body in a non-judgmental way, just thinking, oh yeah, that feels good. I don't feel like anything much. Yeah, that's fine. But you're tuning in. So much of the time we're not aware of our bodies, and that actually makes quite a big difference to our health and well-being if we just listen to our bodies sometimes. We can also do a little bit of massage on the bone right behind the ear. Again, I'm not sure if you can see that because I can't see the camera. But right behind the ear, you've got this kind of little bumpy bone here. It's called your mastoid. And you can just get your fingers on the skin there. Again, you're not sliding your fingers up and down. You're actually keeping them on the same bit of skin and moving that skin. So you're gliding the skin almost kind of against the bone underneath it. If you can't quite see that, I'll show you here. So you keep your finger, you're not sliding your fingers up and down, you keep your finger on the same bit of skin and you slide that skin around the tissue underneath it. So you're doing that just behind the ear. And again, you're noticing, so just feel what happens as you move that skin in different directions. So for me, I can that skin glides easily into the back of the ear and quite easily upwards, but then when I try and glide backwards, it becomes a little bit tight. So I'm kind of at the end of that movement. You can see how it's kind of pulling my ear backwards a little bit as I do that. and then the skin glides down quite easily. Then a little bit tight as we go kind of diagonally up and backwards, and then quite tight going all the way back. And then it slackens off again as I come down. And again, that doesn't mean anything. Okay? It doesn't mean there's a problem. It just is. That's where there's areas where the tissues are slack and areas where the tissues are a little more anchored down. But just gently working into it can be really helpful for stimulating that vagus nerve, calming everything down just through touch, through where there's so much rich innervation of that nerve around that area. And again, just swap. It's taken me so many takes to do this video, it's now going dark, so I think it's probably time to start wrapping up. So same thing here, so skin on that bone right behind the ear, finger on the skin, and just gliding the skin in different directions, and just notice where you hit a little bit of resistance and just gently work towards the resistance without forcing it, and let it go slack, and then work up into resistance again. And if nothing else, you'll be able to wiggle your ears afterwards. Oh yeah. I don't know if I could wiggle them before. Anyway, so that's how you can use touch and the ears to stimulate your vagus system, to calm the nervous system and help with general well-being. So add that with your breathing exercises from the previous video, and in the next video, I haven't decided yet, might use eyes, we might look at some alternative. Anyway, it's going dark, so I need to say goodbye. I'll post another video in the next week or two.